All right, so it is a new month. It is the month of August, and I do have a message for Miss August. Please do not place your foot on our necks, okay? We had to deal with your cousins, May, June, July, and them. Just please give us a break.
Give me your wig. Give me your wig. Give me your wig. Cause it seems like you are through with it.
Before I get started, make sure that you're going over to patreon.com/AdrianExpression. Check it out. On Tuesday, I'm going to be putting up another episode of the podcast. Sign up over there. Let me know what you want me to talk about. We always have fun. Always. It's always a good time when we do our podcast episodes over there. So make sure that you sign up and listen. Just wanted to let y'all know that season 2 of Umbrella Academy did come out. Now, I'm not going to spoil it. May talk a little bit about it on the podcast, depending on who wants me to discuss it. All I'm saying is the season is iconic. Their powers are getting more sickening. Allison actually captivated me as a character. Very interesting development there. Klaus is still my husband. I need somebody to tell me what Diego did in the season finale with them damn bullets. Like, what was that? Luther still don't know what's going on. We already know Vanya's still destroying shit. It's everything I needed. I finished the whole season in like 2 days. Speaking of finishing things, I would just love it if Trump's wigs, his hair pieces, could be finished before he places them on that Sahara, desert ass scalp. And since we're also talking about scalps, he loves to scalp himself, right? So let's take a look at this tweet that he deleted, okay? He said, "My visits last week to Texas, Florida." What does that say, ladies and gentlemen? What does that say, class? It says Florida, okay. "My visits last week to Texas and Florida had massive numbers of cheering people gathered along the roads and highways, thousands and thousands, even bigger by far than the crowds of 2016. Saw no Biden supporters, and yet some in the fake news said it was an equal number. Sad." Okay, so he said that they had thousands. I don't know what state Florida is, but I can tell you what Florida looked like. He said they had thousands and thousands. Let's look at these photos. Do these look like thousands and thousands to y'all? Or does it look like some people waiting to get in a goddamn movie theater? This shit look like people going to see Avengers Infinity War. The only difference is that Donald Trump wishes that he was as iconic, as sickening, as compelling, as intelligent a villain as Thanos. That's the only difference. I want Trump and his autocorrect that doesn't seem to be working to sit his ass right on down next to the hair follicles that so often go missing on that elliptical bowling ball. Not even sure if that's possible. On that elliptical bowling ball that he calls a head, okay? I already talked about wigs and what's on your head, so let's just go into the hair part of this video, which I didn't even think was a thing until I started doing research for this video. It's a whole hair section. This headline went viral a couple days ago, but in Jamaica, and I'm speaking on this, I will never let y'all forget that I have Jamaican heritage, but I just want to clarify the reason why I'm speaking on this shit specifically. It's just because it is so sad to see, especially somebody, like I said, who has Jamaica in their blood. So, damn, I forget what news site I got this from. I think it was a Washington Post, but apparently there was this 5-year-old girl. The legal battle has been 2 years long, so now she's 7, but there was a 5-year-old girl who was going to Kensington Primary School in Kingston, Jamaica, and that school was just like, girl, you have to cut that hair. You have to cut them dreadlocks. You have to cut them long ass. You have to cut that hair. And this is in Jamaica. So the ruling by the Supreme Court of Jamaica capped a 2-year battle after the girl, then 5 years old, like I said, was told she must cut her hair. She must cut her dreadlocks for hygiene reasons to study at Kensington Primary School in Kingston. Shireen Virgo is her mother, and she said, "I will not be cutting my daughter's hair. If they give me that ultimatum again, I'll be moving her." Her father, the girl's father, called it another sign of systemic racism. He said, "A child was refused because of her black hair, It's so weird that right now in the current climate of the world in 2020, we are having protests and black people are fed up. This is an opportunity the Jamaican government and legal system had to right these wrongs and lead the world and make a change. but they have decided to keep the same system. So I just thought that this was important to bring this up, especially considering, like her father pointed out, all the protests and all the conversations that we're having about Black liberation, Black Lives Matter, how Black people have to navigate in the system. And it's important to bring up examples like this because significant parts of populations in countries like Jamaica, dreads in Jamaica, countries like Jamaica, they have internalized for generations some of these ideologies, some of these white supremacist talking points. I think it's very important that we identify these things so that we can correct them within our own community. Like just making sure that we can see the systemic problems that, you know, although they originate from outside of our community, see how we are internalizing that, and just to see if we can try and undo the many ways that we are using these same standards to fuck over our own people. It's crazy. Anyway, speaking of hair, not the banging, not the banging. Oh no, not the bang. That was Lil Yachty's hair. Just thought I would put it in there for some comedy. That was Lil Yachty. He was giving us very much Who Gon' Check Me. He was giving us very much I have to pick my kid up from after school and then I'm going to prayer meeting type of tease. It was just, he was giving us very much let me move my bang so I could read that correctly. I saw it on my TL and I cackled. Now I want to move on to Azalea Banks. If you're wondering why Azalea Banks was on your timeline bald, it's not because somebody edited that shit. It's because she was on, I think it was Snapchat or something, or Instagram, I don't know. She was on one of them sites talking about how she watched Black is King and it really inspired her to cut her hair, how her family always used relaxers in her hair. So if you're wondering why you saw that, that's the reason why. Honestly, I think Azalea's onto something because the way that this year is serving us, I think all of us just want to go ahead and just take some scissors, take some razors, just cut our hair, just cut over, start over. Let's get a do-over, Control Z on this shit. Just put this year in the garbage can and you don't recycle that shit, burn it. You know, I know a lot of green energy. We're trying to make sure this shit is sustainable. Don't recycle this year. Don't do it. Put that shit in the garbage can, not the recycle, but in the garbage can, and take that shit and burn it. If you can't burn that shit, fling that shit to outer space where we should be. Fling that shit out there. Really quickly, we already know Black is King already came out. I just thought it was really cute and really sweet how Adele posted this picture. Sis looks happy as hell, but she's like the #1 Beyonce stan. Like, it's crazy. I love seeing how much she respects Beyonce and vice versa as an artist. But that's what happens when you have queens supporting queens. We already know, okay? The talent is just, out of both of them, it's wow. No wonder they stan each other, right? So let's talk about what's going on in TV land. You remember when Gabrielle Union was like, hey, y'all girls are really trash over here at America's Got Talent and NBC, like y'all are racist and fucked up. And some people tried to drag the shit out of her, Terry Crews, silly ass included. And this has come from the Hollywood Reporter, NBC Entertainment Chairman Paul Teledgy. I do not know how to pronounce that shit. We just gonna call him Paul, no Logan, right? Okay, so apparently the NBC Entertainment Chairman Paul apparently fostered a toxic culture of racist, sexist, and homophobic behavior. We should not be surprised at all. Remember, Gabrielle Union included a claim that in February, NBC Entertainment Chairman Mr. Paul, had threatened to silence her during the course of an ongoing investigation into workplace practices on the set. NBC said, girl, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That shit looks really silly. You might be a little bit tired. That's why your brain's a little dizzy, sis. But what did they say? The allegation that anyone involved in this process threatened Miss Union is categorically untrue. But the Hollywood Reporter interviewed more than 30 producer executives and former network insiders who say that Mr. Paul presided over a toxic environment, particularly in the reality division, which he ran from 2009 until he was promoted to chairman in 2018. Sources say that they have seen him mock gay executives, sometimes to their faces, use homophobic and misogynistic slurs, and disparage or make sexual comments about the physical appearance of network talent. So that's what's going on. Gabrielle Union wins yet again. We win again. And all of this dirt is starting to come up. Speaking of dirt coming up, this shit has been brewing for a long time. Apparently for years, you can even look up headlines that date back for years talking about Miss Ellen, but there's this whole thing on Twitter right now talking about replace Ellen. There's so many accusations coming out right now about the workplace culture, about specific producers on the Ellen DeGeneres show. There have been rumors that have been swelling for a long time about how Ellen presents herself as one way to the public, but she's really rude and mean, horrible to the people who work under her. So yeah, if you saw people talking about hashtag replace Ellen, that's why. A lot of people have some ideas on who they want to replace Ellen. Some people are just saying, girl, let the show go. But I'd like to hear from you guys. If they're going to replace Ellen on a big talk show, like who would you want there? There were some rumors about James Corden doing it, but me personally, and I think a lot of other people agree with me, I want a queer to be up there, like a black queer, minority queer, somebody queer up there. I don't know why I was under the impression that James Corden was queer, but he's not. So some people were saying Tiffany Haddish, and I want them to unsay it. But yeah, there are many prospects out there, many talented people out there. So I don't know, I guess we're just gonna keep an eye on this topic and see how it develops. So I think I wanna talk about this last topic a little bit more on my podcast, but Tyler Perry recently did an interview with CNN where he talked, I mean, some of the focus of that interview was on the protests and what's been going on, civil unrest, civil rights, all of that shit, everything that's been going on in the streets and online. And he said some interesting things. He first started off saying like, okay, yeah, you know, I'm happy about these protests happening. It seems like some people are really getting it and understanding these issues. He also talks about the conversations around Confederate statues and how they're being removed. The full circle moment of black people taking over these spots and pushing down these monuments. He talked about that. But the thing that really annoyed the shit out of me is what he said about defunding the police. He said, I'm not for taking money from the police. I think we need more police. My studio is in a neighborhood where I think we need police, but I don't need police that are undertrained. And you gotta understand, I have really close friends who are police officers, blah, 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 that I love dearly. He said, I think we need police. I know that we need police. I have several that work for me here at the studio. We need them. We need them well trained. We need the right structure. But some of these things inside the defund the police movement, I really understand, like having officers who are clinically trained to deal with certain situations. I think all of these things are helpful, but taking money from the police department to make the police department smaller, that troubles me. So here's my thing. Celebrities like Tyler Perry are out here. They are giving back. Some of them are, you know, investing in the community in certain ways. But it's just like, if you don't dig deeper than that, we're gonna be still doing the same bullshit over and over for generations and generations. I really wish, because he is somebody who, when he speaks, a lot of people listen. I really wish he had a more in-depth, a more profound understanding of what defund the police actually means when you're looking at police departments that have billions and billions and billions of dollars at their disposal, and there's no, I mean, how long, for how many decades are you gonna cry police reform for the same shit? It's just like, girl, no, give the money back. Let's take the money away. Billions of dollars. I mean, if you look at the budgets of some of these cities, I mean, no health and human services. Look at education, look at healthcare, look at mental health services, look at all these different things that are not being invested in, but billions of dollars are going to these police departments. No, for what? For what? For them to kill us with our tax money? For what? I just wish that, you know, even though these celebrities are trying to do right and trying to give back, I wish that they would go deeper, because like I said, we keep doing the same bullshit over and over, we're gonna end up with the same dead bodies on the goddamn street, okay? It's giving very much class solidarity tease to me, Tyler. But like I said, I think it's very unfortunate that people with such power and such a platform don't utilize it in a way that would really mean, that would truly mean structural change, because these people are going to take the money that you give them. They already have billions of dollars. They're going to take the money that you give them, call it reform, and continue to do the same bullshit. We've seen it happen over and over. This conversation needs to be much bigger than, oh, but my studio is not in a neighborhood that's gentrified, I need police. Like, it needs to be much bigger than that. But yeah, like I said, I think I want to go into more detail on this in the podcast. Make sure you check out patreon.com/AdrianExpression for that. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you have a good week and also a good goddamn evening.